So you've seen Nitro Cold Brew, but what if we nitroed espresso or a latte? I just got this home nitro maker called the X-Brew Ever Nitro, and it pulls nitrogen straight out of the air with 95% purity, so no cartridges, I just press the button and it starts infusing. X-Brew agreed to send me this prototype and sponsor the video, so thanks so much to them, and please go check out their page linked in the description for this very cool device. So I wanted to test 3 drinks: Nitro Cold Brew, then a Jumbo Nitro Espresso, and a Nitro Cafe Latte. And yes, that espresso one involves me pulling 12 double shots. So how does this whole thing actually work, and what does infused nitrogen actually do to a coffee? So the key to this is that it's pretty much impossible to make nitrogen dissolve into coffee. So when you infuse it, you're really just using pressure to try and force the nitrogen into the liquid. And of course, when it's released through a tap like this one, it rapidly escapes as it was never really bonded with the liquid anyway. This leaves you with a very silky, frothy drink. And through some trick of brain wiring, it actually makes it taste sweeter, even without adding any sweetness to the drink. This is because the foam layer mutes the bitterness and acidity as fewer volatile compounds reach your olfactory senses at once, so your tongue focuses more on the natural sweetness of the coffee. So first I want to make a classic Nitro Cold Brew, but using a recipe that I've found makes the absolute best result. I really don't like making cold brew from concentrate, as I'm not running a cafe here. I just want maybe 2 cold brew coffees out of this, so I use a 1:10 ratio of ground coffee to water. For my favorite cold brewer glass, that means around 50 grams of coffee to 500 grams of water. The reason why I'm doing this is to get a strong but still sweet flavor. The thing with cold brew is because cold water is extracting the coffee, you don't get anywhere near as much pulled out of the coffee as you do with something like filter coffee, which is using boiling water. So even though I'm doing a 1:10 ratio, which should be more concentrated than a 1:15 ratio I typically do for filter coffee, it's gonna have less extraction. But this can be a good thing for Nitro Cold Brew. Because you extract less of the bitterness and you extract less of the acidity, you end up with a very sweet and very pleasant, maybe even tea-like coffee. Now when it comes to choosing the coffee itself, I know I like light roasts, and you probably like light roasts if you watch this channel, and we all like specialty coffee, but the best coffees to use for cold brew tend to be medium or darker roasts. Light roasts tend to be a lot denser, a lot harder to extract those coffee solids from, so if you do a cold brew with specialty light roast, it's gonna be really high notes focused. It's gonna accent a lot more of that acidity, almost to the point of sourness, because it can't really extract the deeper flavors. So I highly recommend for cold brew using a medium roast that's gonna get you the most balanced flavor. You can use dark roasts too, they are tasty, and I think dark roasts actually really shine in a cold brew, but overall I don't like them, and I generally don't buy them unless I'm practicing for a latte art video. For my cold brew, I grind the coffee very coarse, somewhere between what you would do for a pour over and a French press. You can adjust it based on the strength of the coffee once you've made it. If you want it to be a bit stronger next time, grind a little bit finer, but obviously don't grind so fine that you end up with an overpowering flavor. So with the Ever Nitro, I can control how much nitro I put into the drink with the pressure controller. 6 bar is about the average and what it defaulted to when I first turned it on, but I like that rich, thick foam, so I'm going to use 7 bar. The maximum is 8 bar, and from my testing, 7 is the sweet spot. There's a fast mode on the Ever Nitro, but I basically always use the high purity mode that gets the richest foam up to 95% purity, which I get to by holding the start button till the display changes, and then just tap the button to start infusing. That's cool. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's yum. Very clean, nice acidity, it's very rich. The foam is very creamy. Ooh. Oh, that's great. That's super yum. But the next one I'm really excited and a bit nervous about. I've never done this before. It's a Nitro Espresso. And for this, I'm going to use the same medium roast that I did for the cold brew, but I'm going to do a lot of espresso shots because obviously the less liquid in the jar, the harder it is to infuse nitrogen into it. So I'll make enough espresso to fill up this jar, which based on a 36 gram espresso means roughly 12 double espresso shots should be enough. Jesus, that's a lot of espresso. Damn. Oh, look at that. That's actually not that bad. I was kind of expecting this to be terrible. God, that's strong. Okay, actually it's not that great. After sipping it a little bit more, it's got a really nice like first taste to it. Like it's very sweet, very, very strong. So it gets that kind of like strong espresso-y like forcefulness. But god damn, that is way too strong. Would I do it again? Definitely not. That is way too much effort and not as good as the cold brew stuff. Okay, my head's already spinning from that, but I really want to try this Nitro Cafe Latte. So for this one, I'm going to do an iced latte, obviously, to make sure that's nice and cold. I don't want to add any water to this, so instead of using ice, I'm going to use these two little metal balls that I've kept in the freezer, so that chills the coffee without adding any more water. So then the milk and the coffee and all of that's going to be nice and cold by the time I put it in here and turn it into Nitro Latte. It's only about half the bottle, so it's going to be a little bit harder to infuse. So you have to take that into account. Every time, that's so fun. Okay. Oh, damn. Look at that. That looks like a milkshake. That's cool. Oh, that's yum. Okay, that surprised me. That's really, really good. Do you know what? That slaps. That is so good. That's how I'm doing it from now on. Definitely doing that again. Anyway, I hope you liked this video and tell me in the comments what you think about Nitro Espresso and Nitro Iced Lattes. Should I try again with different beans? Would you want to try this? And thanks again to X-Brew for sponsoring this video and for sending me their prototype of the Ever Nitro. If you want to learn more about it and pick one up for yourself, there's a link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, you wonderfully overcaffeinated people, and I'll see you on the next one.